What's going on, hockey friends? I'm finally back and I've even got a new microphone, but yes, the videos are back and today we are talking about the Philadelphia Flyers and what the future of this team is. This is kind of a reboot of my old Future Off series I did 2.5 years ago, so if you've been watching since then, shout out to you. But basically what I did in those videos was I talked about a team and their current roster and their prospect pool and how it can all come together in the future. And that's what we're kind of doing today with the Flyers. And oh boy, this could go so many ways. Now I'm going to focus almost exclusively on their future here with their prospect, their draft and their management. I'm not going to take a deep dive into the season the Flyers had this year. It is what it is. They had massive injury problems, they've had awful coaching, and the players we thought were going to be good and important for them just haven't performed to the standards we're used to see or expect from them. But here's the thing, what is there to be excited about? This team has so many problems, ranging from underperforming players to not being able to develop their young guys. They have some nice prospects like Cam York and Bobby Brink, but they're not game-changing talents relative to what prospects are in other teams' organizations. Cam York is promising and will probably have a good NHL career, but is he a better prospect than someone like, say, Caden Gooley or Jake Sanderson? I'm not sure. And even if you want to put all of your eggs in the Cam York basket, will he even reach his potential? Because with the Flyers, there's a massive inability of developing players in recent times. Look at guys like Ivan Provorov. He was so good in his first years, but what's happened to him since? He's a turnover machine and he's just stagnated, and sometimes you have to be reminded that he's just 25 years old and should be playing the best hockey of his career right now. And then there's Rasmus Ristolainen, the enigma. He's been something, but we're in Philadelphia, so the natural course of action was of course to tie him down to a 5-year deal at $5.4 million, because of course you do. He's a big, tough defenseman that brings the physical edge the Flyers have built their NHL identity on. The only problem with him is that he fucking sucks. I've never bought into the Ristolainen hype, if you can call it that. And sure, he scored a few nice goals and he's got some sweet moves and he hits hard and all that, but he's just not a good defenseman. And this is something we've known, it's been an established fact for years. And the fact that they gave a first round for him is just insanity. They don't need a retool like Chuck Fletcher is talking about. They need a complete reset and rebuild, because if you're going to be good and build through the draft like competent GMs do, you need to understand where franchise players are typically found in the draft. You don't find them at 17th or 20th overall. Sure, you might hit once, but you can't do it consistently. You need draft picks that are top 5 or top 10, and the Flyers have had that and still managed to mess it up. Just look at the 2017 draft, Nolan Patrick at 2nd overall. It was thought to be a good pick, but I clearly remember sitting there and watching the draft and thinking, why is Cale Makar still on the board? And that was at the 2nd pick. And you don't have to believe me, and you can call me revisionist or whatever, but I had Cale Makar as the number 1 going into that draft. And what makes it even funnier is that the Flyers scouting team actually wanted Makar, but the GM at the time, Ron Hextall, went against them and picked Nolan Patrick. And obviously that wasn't Chuck Fletcher's fault because he wasn't there with the Flyers and we didn't know all the problems Nolan Patrick would have, and that whole situation is very sad and unfortunate. But Fletcher hasn't helped the situation at all since he came in, and his track record before the Flyers is, he signed Zach Parise and Ryan Suter to their insane deals in 2012, which will ravage Minnesota in the next few years, so there's that. But what players are you building this team around? Carter Hart is a great piece to do just that, if he can return to his 2019-20 form, because he's an amazing goalie. But a majority of the players on long-term deals are 30 years or older. Ryan Ellis, good player right now, in 3 or 4 years? Probably not. Sean Couturier, same story. And what do these guys have in common? They've both had injury-riddled seasons. Ryan Ellis played 4 games and that was it. Sean Couturier was out for the season. You have Kevin Hayes for another 4 years. He's not a franchise player. He's good, but he's not the one you build around. And the younger guys like Ivan Provorov and Travis Konechny aren't those kind of players either. I love Konechny, but he's just not that guy. I like Morgan Frost too, but I can't see him turning into the main guy either. I don't know who you look at on this roster and think, yeah, that's the guy to carry us for the next decade. You have some good pieces, but at the end of the day, I see them more as complements rather than the actual building blocks. And that's why the draft this year and next year is so important for the Flyers, and with them picking at 5th overall, I can't see them failing here. They're getting a good player, and my pick would be right-handed defenseman David Jiricek. Yes, we're at the draft talk now. I'm not against picking a forward if someone like Matthew Savoy or Frank Nassar or Joakim Kemell is available. You can make a strong argument to pick one of them, but to me, Jiricek is the best overall defenseman in this draft. Sure, Simon Nemec probably has better offensive upside, and I actually think Nemec is going 4th overall, but I like Jiricek's overall game better. You also can't disregard the fact that he's a right-handed defenseman. I know Nemec is too, and these are the player types that are rare commodities and a luxury to have in today's NHL. The reservations I have with Jiricek is obviously his knee injury he suffered at the World Juniors, but he played at the World Championships and took home a bronze medal with the Czech Republic, and his skating isn't amazing. The way he skates is a bit funky, but there's room for improvement and it's something you can actually work on over time. I'm also a real sucker for big defensemen that can rifle the puck from the blue line, which is something Jiricek does a lot and is successful with. I think Jiricek is that main building block the Flyers need, and if we're going to use JFresh as prospect cards, by the way, subscribe to his Patreon, it's amazing. The future is very bright for Jiricek. He also fits the Flyers mold with his physicality, which I know a lot of their fans appreciate. So my money's on David Jiricek, a big defenseman, right-hand shot defenseman, good shot on him, physical. I just think he's gonna be perfect for the Flyers to build with. So that's my take on the draft, and I touched on the Flyers prospect pool earlier, which I think is okay. I like Bobby Brink and Cam York, but like I said earlier, I don't see them being the big game-changing talents. But there are some other nice prospects too that you can build with, like Emil Andre and Tyson Forster. Emil Andre is a smallish defenseman drafted in the 2nd round in 2020, and he had a really good season this year with HV71 in Sweden's 2nd division, where he helped his team get promoted back to the SHL, and he was also awarded Rookie of the Year. He's a mobile defenseman with great offensive upside, and despite his small size, he's actually rather physical. He's going to the World Juniors again in August, and I believe he's going to be the captain again, just like he was in the tournament that was cancelled this winter. I think this upcoming season in the SHL will be a great test for him to prove himself in Sweden's top league, and hopefully he impresses Flyers management, just like Tyson Forster is hoping to do. He was also drafted in 2020, but in the 1st round at 23rd overall. He's a center with a great shot, but unfortunately he struggled with injuries a lot this year. But despite that, he still put up great numbers when he did play. I've seen a whole range of different opinions on him and what his potential is, but I'm inclined to be on the optimistic side, and with this shot he has, I do believe he can have a good career. Again, nothing groundbreaking, nothing you build your franchise with, but good complements to the core you're hoping to build here in the future. But I mentioned Flyers management earlier, so we have to address the elephant in the room. John Tortorella. Is there a more Philly signing than this? I am sorry, but I don't see it at all. He might be good for a few weeks, and he's not one to sugarcoat things when it comes to actual on-ice play. I don't know, man. Maybe he can talk some sense into these players and get them to perform, but the guy hasn't won anything in more than 20 years. Can he finally make Rasmus Ristolainen find his game and turn him into a good defenseman? He fits the Tortorella and the Flyers archetype pretty well, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I'll be sure to tune in to a few Flyers press conferences with Torts, that's for sure. And while we're still on the subject of management, let's talk a bit about Chuck Fletcher and his supposed plans for the offseason. It's clear that he's going for an aggressive retool with the Flyers, and I think that's the wrong route to go. I think they need a complete rebuild, but judging by Darren Dreger's comments, The aggressive retool will be underway this season, and yeah, this could get chaotic. I'm not trusting the man who signed Zach Parise and Ryan Suter to those insane deals to not make the same mistake again. Does he go for Johnny Gaudreau? Does he go for Nazem Kadri? They wouldn't be bad in theory, but there's no doubt in my mind those deals would be absolutely bonkers and become anchors in a few years. If anything, it's going to be hilarious at least, and I'm hoping they do something crazy. Whatever happens in the offseason and this coming season, I still think the Flyers have quite a long journey ahead of them. I don't think their potential quick fixes this summer will move the needle in any significant way, and it may just prolong the inevitable. I think they should go down the rebuilding route, and it needs to start this year at the draft and for at least another 1 or 2 drafts more. But with hiring John Tortorella and the supposed plans this summer, this can go in any direction. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So there you have it, my thoughts on the Philadelphia Flyers. It's gonna be a lot of fun to follow, so talk to me in the comments what you think about them, and if you've made it to the end of the video, first of all, obviously thank you for watching, but I'm gonna throw this out here. I'm thinking about maybe rebranding and changing my name here on YouTube. This is something I'll talk about in a community post soon, so be on the lookout. I'm looking for something more personalized, something that feels more personal to me. I think secondary scoring feels so sterile, I guess. So be on the lookout for that post. Talk to me in the comments about what you think about the Flyers. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.